Hello, 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 everyone. Hello. Welcome to the Meli Melo show. And today we are blessed to have Miss Lucy Flavius here. And we're going, the discussion today is going to be about insurance. And she represents her own agency. And we'll hear a little bit more about her. But she represents the Allstate agency and she has several. So I am, and for those of you who don't know, Sabine Apollon, and your guest host today. So with that, we definitely want to have a conversation because it's definitely a hot topic. And with that said, I'm going to introduce and let Lucy talk about herself a little bit.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you so very much, Meli Melo Show, for actually having me on today. So my name is Lucy Flavius. I actually own two insurance agencies, two Allstate insurance agencies. So that's a company that we actually represent from Miami, Florida. Been here in Atlanta now for about 10 years, a little over 10 years. So I do, so I run the two insurance agencies and also do a little bit of real estate here and there as well. But yeah, so that's just a little bit about myself. And yeah, let's just get into some of the hot topics.
Let's get into it. All right, Miss Lucy, if you can be, because again, I think for the audience, just to be clear of, because there's so many insurances out there, just what do you specialize in your practice in terms of insurance so that the folks on the line can know and where to come to find you?
Yes. Okay. So with Allstate, we actually sell numerous different products, all of your standard stuff. So we're talking auto, home, renters, all of your standard products, life insurance. We also sell life insurance products as well. We also have a commercial sector. We do other off-road vehicles such as boats. We also covers like ATVs. So all of your standard day-to-day insurance policies, landlord policies. So if you're an investor like myself and you need some of those landlord policies, we also do that as well.
Awesome. Thank you. And congratulations on that's pretty impressive that you have two agencies. Hot topic in terms of high insurance rates. So can you speak a little bit on what factors determine where you are in your premiums, whether it's your home or your car? I know for me, having 3 adult children, my insurance is through the roof of my car. Mm-hmm. And my home insurance has certainly gone up over the last 2 years. So I'd love to hear what determines those factors.
Okay, so I'm going to speak more or so on a general sense because it's not just one particular company, it's just insurance overall. So some of the biggest factors as it relates to insurance rates, let's just say, for example, in terms of like homeowners insurance rates, right? So we've noticed in the past few years, especially since COVID, a lot of material costs has gone up. So with the material cost and just different building costs that has gone up, that does play a big factor in terms of also insurance rates. Another thing is also people don't realize the property values too. So property values have been increasing, which is amazing because with the higher the value of your property, which is also a driving force for taxes, the higher the property value, the more equity you have in a home, which is amazing. But on the back end, the insurance companies do have to increase some of the dwelling to cover that additional property value that your home is now actually worth. So those are just in terms of like general sense in terms of pricing. But as it relates to like pricing, just, on an individual sense, different factors such as claims will also play a factor, the location of the home, the age of the home, just standard stuff like that. Those are all other things that actually plays factors as it relates to just pricing and insurance prices.
Okay. So I'm hearing two things. Inflation certainly plays a part of your premiums. So it's not anything that the agency can do anything about. It's really what is happening as a society and just in our economics overall. Okay. So quick question for you when it comes to, and I know this, we don't do this for those on the audience, but I hear that people underinsure their homes or underinsure just for the sake of saving a couple of dollars in their pocket.
Yeah.
So can you speak a little bit about that?
Okay. So as it relates to like being underinsured, a lot of times I know we're thinking about, okay, if you're of course, your homeowner's insurance, if it's actually escrowed, you're thinking, oh my goodness, my mortgage is going to go up, right? Or, but as it relates to like underinsuring your home, you definitely do not want to do that. It doesn't do you very well, because you could take away certain coverages or rob yourself of certain coverages. God forbid, like we never want that one thing to happen, but it does. And God forbid if that one thing actually do take place, now you're stuck paying thousands on the actual back end. So it's always very important that you do get with your insurance agent, or somebody within the insurance realm, or just calling your insurance local office, or just calling whoever your insurance provider is, and just having them do a detailed policy review with you and just go over those particular coverages. Make sure that your home is being properly covered. Make sure that you have the right deductibles. Make sure you have the right endorsements. If you have done some modifications to your home, make sure that your insurance agent also know about those particular modifications, because a lot of times some of those things are not actually covered.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, your basement is not finished and you did not notify your insurance agent. So you definitely want to make sure that you are having those adequate and proper coverages with the actual policy.
So are you saying, let's say this hypothetical that I did finish after 10 years, decided to finish my basement and something happens, a flood or a fire, that means that we are not covered for that, correct?
Well, it's not saying it's not covered, right? But what I'm indicating is you want to go ahead and have that conversation with your insurance agent, because they might have not marked the fact that your basement is actually finished, right? Because it's living space, exactly. Mm-hmm. Because once there is, once you are getting your basement done, you want to go through the proper protocols, right? You want to get your permits. You want to, get legal and, the adequate contractors to actually make sure that they have the proper licensing to do the work. So that's a part of letting your insurance agent know, like, hey, my basement was probably marked unfinished. Now it is finished, and any particular changes that you might have made to that.
Mm-hmm. Probably off script a little bit, because this is kind of my business. Mm-hmm. Just the importance of, again, you just said the magic word about making sure your contractors are licensed. And that is what I do in my day job, is in design and construction.
Oh, nice.
And so for me, that's always something I tell residential clients, even family and friends, that you really want to have a contractor who is licensed, because God forbid there is an insurance claim, they're going to go, it's going to be obviously a point of contention. Just if you can just give a little advice to the audience in terms of what it is, what that means, and what does that turn into when it comes to an insurance claim.
Well, okay. So as it relates to just having somebody that is actually licensed, I mean, like I said, if you're going to make modifications to your home, a lot of those modifications, depending on your city and your county, a lot of those things are permanent. That's not so much my particular expertise per se, but you want to make sure those things are properly permitted. You're working with a general contractor or some level of contractor that is properly licensed to actually do some of that work. For example, let's just say you get your roof replaced. A lot of times your insurance company is going to ask you for a roof certificate or some form of proof that, hey, that roof has been properly replaced and it was replaced by a licensed contractor. Mm-hmm. So those are documents and stuff that you do want to go ahead and make sure that you turn in, or just at least just call and notify your insurance company of, of some of those things. Because if there is a loss, depending on the insurance company, they do have the right to just do a little bit more digging and some investigation. So. Sure. And those are questions that are asked on an application, like, hey, has this work been done by a licensed contractor? Yes or no? So I have come across some of those questions.
Good, thank you. Natural disasters. So you just talked about the roof, and I know for my house, I had roof damage and with hail, et cetera. We've had several natural disasters over the last year. Again, in terms of damages of what to claim, and how do you, if your house is demolished or your house is flooded and you've got 2 feet of water, what happens? What process do you do? And I know probably there are folks that have homes in Florida that have homes in affected areas of recent. So what can you tell them about that?
Yeah. So that storm that took weekends out, it just kind of woke me out of my sleep. So let's just say there are some damages that did take place. A lot of times the first step is before you actually have an agent of some sort to speak with, that's always very helpful. I know a lot of the major ones do have insurance agents, like, Farmers, Allstate, State Farm. But anyways, you'll call the office and, just speak to someone, go over some of your coverages, make sure that, hey, you do have those coverages in place to make sure that these items are covered. Now, we're not claims representatives, so we're not going to give you legal claim advice, but we could go over your policy with you. And then after that, then of course you'll go ahead and contact the claims department, and the claims department is who will pretty much just go over that particular claim process with you, answer those particular questions that you may have, and let you know they're going to do another recap of your coverages, right, and then start the mitigation process and start having somebody come out and look at the, just assess the loss pretty much.
Understood.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop here for a minute. For those of you who have questions specific or insurance in general, please write your questions and we're watching and we can answer them. Just want to encourage everybody to go ahead and do that. Let's talk about taxes and escrow.
Okay.
And maybe perhaps give a insurance 101 on how that actually the home value of your home value obviously affects your premium and escrow, et cetera. If you can just elaborate a little bit on that and give us a little bit of education on that.
Okay. Well, one thing I do know about escrow is PITI, right? So you got your principal, you got your interest, you got your taxes, you got your insurance, right? So the other three, a lot of times if you're in a 30-year fix, the principal don't change, the taxes, the interest rate don't change, especially if it's like a 30-year fixed. And then taxes, that's not my side of the business. So, taxes, of course, you'll reach out to your county and just kind of get some insight of that. So my side that definitely drives your mortgage payments is the insurance side, right? So we do recommend every couple of years just shopping your insurance and just really knowing what you have. Like, hey, what are coverages? How much is the price? Because sometimes you're paying a mortgage payment you think is fixed. Mortgage payments are not fixed. If the taxes do go up, then you will see a change. If the insurance go up, you'll see a change, or slowly but gradually increasing. So the factor that does play is the insurance. One of the factors is the insurance. Again, taxes, I don't really know so much about in terms of that, in terms of like the amounts, but the insurance, you definitely want to make sure that you are, you could shop that. A lot of times people that just purchase, clients that recently purchased a home, they're like, oh my God, I don't want to touch my insurance. I don't want to mess up the escrow. Well, you're not messing up the escrow if you shop your insurance. You have the right to shop your insurance oftentimes every couple of years or every year recommended. Every year, right? Every year or every couple of years, right? And sometimes if the coverages are where they need to be, the prices are pretty steady. Sometimes you won't shop, right? But sometimes it's like 10 years down the line and you're gradually paying more and more on fixed items, or you're paying more and more on your mortgage payments, and you really don't understand like what changed. Well, the two factors that could change is the taxes and insurance. So every few years you could just, hey, let me peek at this. Let me go ahead and kind of see what are the coverages? What am I paying for? Right. Because a lot of times your insurance will increase when it's escrowed and you don't know. You're not aware because it's being billed straight to the mortgage company. Mortgage company gets the bill. All right. They cut the check to the insurance company and, and it just goes like that. So sometimes you might want to take a deeper dive just to take a look. So you don't have to shop every year, but every couple of years, just especially if you're seeing those gradual increases.
So do you recommend shopping around with the same, let's say, Allstate family, or do you recommend sort of doing your competitor as well, just to kind of see where prices, and maybe you can go back and negotiate?
Yeah, well, there's not so much negotiations, right? Price is a price, right? Poor, us poor insurance agent, we can't really determine, you guys, as much as we want to give amazing prices, we have to give you the price that you buy for with everything that's being assessed, right? So that's the proper answer for that. But you could shop around with some of the major companies, do some of your research. Obviously, I would love for you guys to come to Allstate, right? Come with my agency. But in all fairness, you want to shop around, you want to do your proper assessments, shop different companies, do your research. Hey, is this an A-rated company? How's the claims and stuff are being properly handled, and things of that nature. Yeah.
Sure. Awesome. So question for you. Let's say we brand new home, go ahead and got a policy. It's all what's selling done. And let's say 10 years down the line, and obviously you've paid down your mortgage, but you're still paying the same amount of insurance. Is there something that needs to be reevaluated at that point? Again, as you said, shopping around is one thing, but is there a way that you can decrease your insurance at that stage of the?
Well, I wouldn't say decrease or probably wanting to decrease your insurance, because think about it, right? You purchased a year for X dollars, 10 years ago. 10 years later, that home is worth a lot more. Right. So I would definitely foresee the insurance prices changing slightly, especially due to the, different instances, such as the value of the home. Right. I don't know. You purchased a home for $250,000. Depending on your area, it could be very well 10 years later be worth almost $500,000, which is phenomenal. So obviously, with the values going up, your taxes are not going to stay the same, right? So with the values going up and the taxes increasing to match that higher property value, same thing with your insurance company. So you could always, of course, call your insurance agency, do a policy review, see what it is that you're actually covered for. If you want to make any modifications to your deductibles or different modifications of that nature, but I wouldn't recommend going in and stripping your coverages, because you want that additional coverage for your house. You want your insurance company to assess the home, every so often, to give you the proper insurance based off of what the value of your home is worth today, pretty much. Yeah.
What happens if you pay off your mortgage early?
Well, good for you. But you still want to keep insurance on your home, because one home ownership is one of our most valuable assets. Right? It's an amazing thing, and of course, obviously, if you pay the home off, I envy you. I desire to be in that space one day very soon. But no, definitely you want to keep your insurance on the home. You want to keep your insurance, even if your car is paid off. Keep your insurance, keep your proper insurance on the actual auto. A lot of times it's like, oh, my car's paid off. Strip my coverages, remove comprehensive, remove collision, and then God forbid you get into an accident. Now, and it's totaled. Now you need what, $12,000 to buy a new car versus paying $100 to keep that, to keep that coverage on there, to get the adequate coverage. But no, you definitely don't want to strip your coverages after paying off your house. Have a party, but don't take away your insurance.
Keep it intact.
Keep it intact,
all right,
please.
We got that.
Yes.
We got that. So question, again, my day job. I deal with a lot of residents or even commercial spaces that are older. Mm-hmm. And so construction is probably not by code, or it needs to be renovated, and whether it's the asbestos, which is a dirty word, whether it's environmental issues, whether it's electric issues. What are those factors that affect the insurance when it comes to an older home or a historic home, for that matter?
Yeah, so you know what? There's when a quote is done, a lot of times, depending on the insurance company, there are certain questions that ask, have there been any renovations? And if there have been massive renovations, and obviously you have all of your proof that those renovations has been done, let the insurance company know, hey, they have some renovations completed. I did my entire Here's the proof by my contractor. I did redo all of my licensed contractor, so you definitely for sure want to notify your insurance company that, hey, I did do some of those, because that could help with the rate as well. I've seen it in some cases where it helped with the rates with a lot of major renovations and stuff being done and updates being done, especially plumbing. Updated plumbing is huge. Updated electrical work is huge. Change out some of those panels. Those are some roofs. Oh my goodness. Updating the roof is a huge price reduction. So if you did just get a brand new roof, have your certificate. Always ask your roofer, whoever do your upgrades, like, hey, can I get some proof or receipts or documents of this stuff? So that way you call your insurance company and notify them, especially for the new roof, because that's a huge price reduction in a lot of cases.
Awesome. Do we have any questions on the line? Not yet? Okay. Remember, guys, just put your questions either in the chat, or you can call in. I think they put the number in the number is 678 397, and I lost 1517 678 397 1517. So call in for your and speak to Miss Lucy.
Yes.
Quick question on deductibles.
Okay.
And I know, again, talking about car auto coverage, and I'm always playing, especially with my kids' cars, trying to figure out what's the right deductible and what risk am I going to take. If you can just explain, is it best to do a low deductible like a $250, or versus, again, for younger folks, a younger individual, would it be better to do a higher deductible, or even an elderly?
Yeah. Right? So the deductible in your insurance policy is a huge driving force, right, in terms of pricing. So the higher the deductible, which means the more that you pay out of your own pocket, the less the price. The lower the deductible, meaning you pay less out of your pocket and the insurance pays more, then yes, the higher the price. So I guess this is a question, within the household that you'll determine, like, hey, God forbid if my car was to be totaled tomorrow, do I have $1,000 sitting around to go ahead and make this payment to get it out the shop quickly? Or if it's case if it's super prone to accidents, I have seen standard deductibles. A lot of the standard deductibles are either $500 or $1,000. But not those are the recommended deductibles. Those are just, I should say the word, I wouldn't say salmon. The common deductibles are the $500, properly assess that based off of the amount of willing to come out happens. Because when you think about it, right, let's just say increasing your deductible to $1,000 might price by $15. God forbid there's an accident tomorrow, you go from $5 pay the extra $500 for a $15 monthly savings. So it's like, okay, does that really truly make sense? You see, is it really truly worth it, right? So like I said, it's a preference in the household based off of what you are comfortable with paying out of pocket. And sometimes the price difference is not huge. It's not significant. Yeah. So you want to, when you're getting those quotes and you're calling your agent, going through some policy reviews, you want to just ask, hey, if I increase it by $500, if I increase it to $1,000, what is the price difference? If it's like $6, sometimes I've heard, is it really worth it? Oh, maybe not. I'll just pay the $6 because God forbid, you just don't know, because we're paying for risk, right? So we just don't know. And a lot of times, just your luck. You just decrease that deductible. You just increase that deductible, and boom, something happens. Life happens. Life happens. Right. And now you're like kicking yourself. So yeah.
All right. So I'm going to give you a little something that happened with our family. So one of my children, one of my twins, had a little fender bender. Had their license about a year and a half or so, and it truly was about $1,200 worth of damage. And of course, when they called me, I said, don't call the insurance. I'd rather pay for this out of pocket. And unfortunately, the other driver said he was not going to report it, and we would just work it out together, which I was like, yes. Well, unfortunately, they did. And so our insurance went triple because of a $1,200 fender bender.
Now, when you say $1,200, is that how much they paid out for your vehicle?
For their vehicle.
For the other person's vehicle? Yeah. So a lot of time I always tell everybody, whoever's involved in that particular accident, always get a police report. In exactly what you just explained, it happens a lot where you'll have a conversation with another party and they're like, no, I'm not going to report it. And they tell you that. Never give money, because you will pay and they will still turn around and file that insurance claim. So follow the proper protocols. Call the police. Even for
$1,200. Even for a small fender bender.
We don't even know how much it's going to be, right? So, and to us, we're like, oh man, it was only $1,200, or it was a tiny scratch. Look at this. It's a tiny scratch. Well, that's not how insurance works. Because sometimes they have to replace the entire part, right? So they have to make the other person whole. And that's what your liability insurance comes in for. So you want to file the police report. You want to follow the proper protocols. Once you file the police report, whether you're at fault or not at fault, you want to get the police report. And if you are at fault and, the other party is getting, going through negotiations with you, I would not recommend negotiating and paying out of pocket and giving monies, because then you'll give a certain amount of monies and the other person, I've heard those stories so many times, and the other person still file a claim and collect from you and your insurance company. So you want to make sure that you just follow those particular protocols. And of course, depending on the insurance company, obviously, every insurance company assess risk differently. And, it might have been a small amount of payout, but sometimes we don't know other things that was filed. Maybe bodily injury was claimed too, because that's where your liability comes in, right? You have bodily injury, you also got property damage. And if there's other factors that comes in, the insurance company got to pay out for those things, then it's going to be assessed. And of course, given the age. So there's different factors that are assessed that might have caused the rate to significantly increase. Yeah.
Sure. A question just came in, and I don't know if she's going to call in, but I will read it, and then we can read it. This is from Ugasso. She says, I was in Allstate for 4 years. I was paying $1,300 for the year, total in escrow. Then we had a hailstorm in my area and had to replace the roof. So she filed a claim, would pay $20,000 towards the roof. They paid $20,000 towards the roof and made them non-renewal. Is that a term?
Non-renewal is a term.
Okay. So because of that, any other major insurance wouldn't pick us up. We had to pay $3,300 now a year with another carrier for coverage. So do I need to wait 2 years to start shopping for another quote?
Well, I truly apologize. Okay. Well, I truly apologize about, this particular scenario or what took place. So just to get a better understanding, it looks as though they currently do have insurance right now with another carrier paying a little bit higher than what they were paying before.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So insurance typically stay on your record for 5 years, but that doesn't mean you have to wait 2 years to start shopping. Again, every single insurance company has different factors that they assess in terms of eligibility. A company might have denied you because their assessment is, hey, you can't have a claim, or you can't have one within a certain time frame. So that doesn't mean every single person is going to deny you. So you everything else, but you don't specifically have to wait 2 years. But just inside information, claims on the homeowners, on the LexisNexis is typically on the record for 5 years, not an Allstate claim, a home claim, period, because it's equally assessed amongst a lot of the major insurance companies, where 5 years is that standard time frame in terms of how long is on there. So, but to answer the question, you don't have to specifically wait 2 years. You could still shop. Just because one person says no doesn't mean that's going to be everybody else's evaluation.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that. Is there a call or no? Okay. So in light of Black History Month,
Okay.
and I'm all about girl power.
Yes.
And I know yours, and we talked before, but I would love for you to just talk about how you started this business and just giving some empowerment for those who, and I think we were talking, there are a lot of industries similar to mine that Haitians typically do not enter.
Tap into.
They don't tap into, and it's because exposure. It's a lack of exposure. It's a lack of knowledge of what else is out there. As women, as Haitian women, we tend to be nurses. We tend to be in healthcare. We tend to be teachers. Our men tend to be, in accounting and engineers, etc. But there's so much more out there.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
much more, but we just are not tapped into. So I'd love for you just to speak a little bit about your journey, just very quickly, again, in honor of Black History Month, of just how you got here. And you're still very young and you're beautiful, but just love to hear your story. Just give a little tidbit.
Yes, of course. Well, no, I appreciate that question. So I'm not gonna lie, insurance when I was in college, I was something that I thought I was gonna be doing. Like, oh my God, I'm gonna go to college and become an insurance agent. I wanted to be where, but it was one of those things that just kind of fell in my lap. I met a friend, one of my friends that kind of introduced me to just the insurance world, right? The introduction was more along the lines of adjuster. So a claims adjuster for about 2 years, just kind of learning about the claims side of things, right? So there's two sides to insurance. You got claims, you got the sales side. Somebody selling the policies and somebody handling the policies, right? So I was doing the handling side. And then during that time frame, I met a mentor that told me he was a 20-year back in New York. And he kind of started telling me about this phenomenal opportunity. And I'm just, my goodness, and just kind of started telling just what my mindset, the child faith mindset. Like, I mean, I tell people this story, they can't believe it. Like, that's how I started. I literally went online. So I just took the leap of faith, believe in God, and just went at it, went online, applied, went through the process from getting called, recruiting, like literally like a standard job, right? And you tell people like, how do you get in? Oh, I had this person. No, I got in. I knew no one that was an agent. I knew no one, absolutely no one. I didn't know a single soul outside of the gentleman, Sydney, shout out to Sydney, that told me about the opportunity. And I literally went online. So it's like one of those things where you just got to take a leap of faith and just literally just get out there and just do it. It sounds scary, but you can't think about it, because once you start thinking so deep about it, you talk yourself out of it. So
no overthinkers.
No overthinkers. You just got to be like Nike and just do it. Just do it. That's it. And then and the rest is history. I've been an insurance agent now for 8 years. Now I have 2 locations and manage about 15 staff members currently. 12 to 15, but I have to count. I just got some new reps that just started with me. So about 14 staff members I manage between 2 of my offices. And it's just been such an amazing experience. And I'm so grateful to God for it.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations to you. So before we wrap up, I would love for, because people are going to be shocked and calling you.
Yes.
So I want them to get your contact. Do they speak to you? Do they speak to your rep? Just in close and kind of give you a little spiel.
Yes, of course. Well, again, I would love to serve you with the Lucy Florvius Allstate Insurance Agent. Our office number is 770 8645-868. Pretty fully staffed, so service is very quick. So customer service and also sales representative that will be more than happy to assist you. So if you are in the market and you're shopping around and you pretty much just want to see what's out there. Rates are going up on you. Please give our office a call, and we will be more than happy to serve you. So again, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yes.
Great information. We are not I want to say well versed, but we are more versed than we were when we came in on insurance. So
Awesome.
So I thank you. So thank you, Miss Lucy.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right.
My pleasure.
All right. We're going to go to break.